Aust again. About half the weight this time. I'm only carrying one bag. I've got much lighter footwear. Right, you're going to wave me off?
I'll wave you off. Good luck, Max. If you need anything, give me a shout.
You rolling?
I'm rolling.
Right, I'm walking.
Good luck.
Thank you, Mark.
Keep in touch. You will hopefully see you again.
Well, we're about 5 minutes into the trip, but I can tell already it's an entirely different experience. Oh, it really is. Well, for one thing, I've got about 10-11 kilos on my back instead of whatever it was last time. So last time it was 19 kilos in the pack plus 5 of the camera bag, which mostly had to sit on my back as well. Oh, crazy. But also I'm not clumping along in my lovely, don't get me wrong, I love my boots, but I'm just not hardcore enough to hike in them. So everything everything is fine so far, but we are forecast some pretty horrible, some pretty gnarly weather. Heavy rain, high winds, and not only that, the wind is going to be blowing straight up the Severn, so it's going to be full force. We're on a much lower tide than last time I was here, and it's a falling tide as well. Last time I had to climb up there and across to get under the bridge, but possibly we can go round the bottom. Well, that really worked out actually, because the other option would have been to go over over the motorway. That's where the actual official footpath goes. And there's first sight of Oldbury Power Station in the distance. It'd be nice if I could get past that for lunch again. It's a much later start this time, but much easier going, of course. So we'll see. That's it, that's the rough terrain done with, I think. Now it's just a case of sheer endurance, which is where I completely fell down last time. This is actually fun.
Sorry.
All right.
Who's nice to get right up to people?
That's fine. Wind is picking up. It's getting dark, or it might just be I've got sunglasses on. It's definitely getting dark. The Severn Bridge is disappearing from view because of the rain. That black cloud's heading straight for us. to the storm drain for shelter. German Army poncho. Here we go, just in time. Just keep put now, I don't have a choice. Right, let's get out the storm drain. I was searching for a bit of shelter, anywhere to get out of the wind. I found an actual bench. Someone very kindly took it away all around it. Just behind that is the power station. Just over here is all the weather. Dinner is served. Still feeling positive. I honestly am. Back on the trail. Still maintaining a good pace. I've literally got a tailwind, so I don't know if you can see it yet, but in the distance is the wind turbine and the grain towers of Sharpness. Unlike day one last time, this time I think we can reach it. Go on, out of the way. Go on. 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 Oh. More rain coming in. Bad weather, even the cows run away. Here we go. Here's Berkeley Power Station. So just like last time, I've got to go all the way around that on the inland side before I can get back the way I want to go. just come through the last gate and it's suddenly found we're in a relatively sheltered spot. We'll take the opportunity to have a little break. I must just say, it's so nice to be able to stop for a break because I want to, not because I'm on the point of collapse. I did it so wrong last time, I really did. That's the actual path, which goes on forever. But there's a path going that way, which isn't on the map. It's definitely a path by the looks of it. I'm going to try going the unauthorised route. What the fuck is this? This place is deserted, but obviously looked after. I'm not stepping a foot through there. Look at that. You've got these giant... I can't see these cameras being active anymore. They're proper old school. They certainly look the part. So much for the shortcut. It was mildly interesting to see what lay at the end of that path. But now we've got this one to do. This section's alright, but when we get to the car park, I'm just going to walk through the car park. I'm not going to take the official footpath, because that was horrible. What was the point of such a tiny nuclear power station? I'm only guessing, but I'd say nuclear weapons. That's not creepy at all. Of course, the thing is with decommissioning a nuclear power station, you've got to wait for the radioactivity to degrade. I think I read somewhere it's 20 years before these towers will be gone. And they're pretty much the last interesting part of it. Right, let's get out of here. It gives me the creeps, this place. Alright, let's see if we're out. Whew. So we've now got to walk almost all the way into the village before going back towards the river. Now I can just make out the sign. So there's a bridge there, just over the bridge, and then we walk up the bank. Yeah, here we go. Proper slippy sliding here. Now last time I came along this bit, it was at twilight and the mozzies were horrific. It's pretty grim. Nearly back to the river. diverted, the tide's come in. I hope you can make out that the river is flowing uphill. I've seen it so many times, it still looks very strange. Look at that. Currently raining. Anyway, pretty much at Sharpness. Here we are, the picnic area. There's actually some people. I only just sat down and I'm being being surveilled again, but this time by a seagull. Look at that. If I pulled out a sandwich, it wouldn't last a moment. I'm going to finish this and we'll be on our way. Alright, let's get out of this place. Let's do it. We're going to head to that turbine. So from what I can tell on the map, that turbine sits in quite a big green area, probably full of dog walkers, but maybe there'll be a bit of shelter where I can at least have dinner. In this yard, there's bits of cranes. I'm assuming they're those giant cranes you see on building sites. That's where I had breakfast last time. So we've got a swing bridge and a lifting bridge. So it would have been road and rail back in the day. Timing. It's now properly raining. Right, well I put on merino wool top underneath this, so I'm fairly warm. I put on my bedtime socks. I've got a bivvy bag to go in here, a really lightweight bivvy bag. Just lightweight is the name of the game on this trip. So I've got a lightweight bivvy bag, an alpaca blanket, because I usually take a wool blanket, an alpaca wool, and it is roughly as warm as sheep's wool, but a quarter of the weight. And I've also got a down quilt, a super lightweight one, which on its own is pretty rubbish. That's this thing here. It weighs not very much. It's not terribly warm on its own either, but I think with the two, I'll be toasty. It's about 5 in the morning. I have survived the night. Actually, it was blowy all night. I did get some sleep. Alright, I'm going ahead with a plan of pack up, get walking, and then have breakfast a few miles in. I say, can't really be someone up at this time of day with a chainsaw, but it is. It's the railway workers on the other side of the river. I remember this one. This is the Dispatch, and this is where I filmed the ending to my last, I'm going to say, attempt. Gosh, I was in a bad way at that point. I really was. Not this time though. Feeling much more perky. There's still a bit of a breeze, but it's nothing like it was yesterday. It's so peaceful in comparison. Oh, that's quite full on in parts. The forecast is pretty good today. So we've made it onto the map. We started here at Sharpness and walked up there. This is where the towers are, the remains of the railway bridge. And you can see that's where it comes down and goes over that swing bridge. So it used to go across there. We're currently around about here. So you can see where the canal is right next to the river. And then this area here is Slimbridge Wildfowl Trust, so we can't walk through that, we've got to go round it. So up the canal, all along here, and then the Severn Way rejoins the river. And where I'm heading, the main target for the day is to get here to Arlingham, because continuing the theme of Severn crossings, there was a causeway going across here from ancient times right up until 1812. So I want to go and see if there's any remnants of that left. You can see this is actually a Roman road going along here. That's how old this causeway was. Or older than that probably. So you can see that walking to Gloucester would just go up there, or up the canal would be quite a direct route. Well, we're going to go all around the horseshoe. That's Gloucester Sharpness. So 2 bars we've done so far today. Lots of rain going on, but thankfully it's a long way off. Hello mate. There's a boat on the move. That's an exciting thing I've seen for ages. The canal really is a bit boring actually. Alright. Finally caught sight of the river again. Morning. Here we go, what's it going to say? 7 miles. Well, I just stopped to check the map, and I'm glad I did, because we've missed the turning. only just. So we're here in front of the factory and we want to go down there, so we've just come over this bridge. We've got to go back to the bridge and then turn down, and then we'll head along here. We've got a hot cliff. Hot cliff's really interesting. Right, back the way we came in. There was only a little error, fortunately. Oh, if I'd carried on walking though, I'd have been very annoyed with myself. Nice to be out in the open again. So Hot Cliff is just down there. It's an off-link tree. That's where we woke up this morning, and I've gone all the way along there, somewhat past that, and then back to here. Wow, that looks like a distance, doesn't it? Yeah. This is the start of it. So it looks like rocks, it's all mud. Just some of it's quite hard mud. So this is what Hot Cliff is famous for. These fossils. Like I say, because it's mud, these fossils are always being washed out. I don't know its real name, I've always known him as the Devil's Toenail. It's some kind of ancient mollusk, I think. And the cliff is just full of them. They're literally full of them. Also, animates. If we're lucky, we'll see an animate. A little segment of the animite. That's the other type of fossil that's common here. Here's a good example of a devil's toenail. You see it comes right back in on itself. Let's crack on. So Arlingham next. Let's go. So that away and then round the corner. Here we go. Here's that road I was on about. There's a pub there, and then the road did go down and across there. Well, I'm almost at the water's edge. I'm going to see if I can find any trace of that causeway. Ah, right. This must be where the ferry went from. Yeah. This is the landing for the ferry, I'm sure. Now on a very low tide it is possible to still walk across, It's very much not recommended. People have done it. So the causeway from ancient times, and then, well, at least from the Roman era, because there's a Roman road, but presumably long before that as well, the causeway came down that road, came down here, and then went across, and then and that was used for, well, for millennia. And then in 1812 there's a huge storm, which hit rock at the bottom of the river bed, and the causeway was gone. A bit blowy at the moment. Yeah, will soon be, once we get around here, we'll be sheltered. I think I'll be completely sheltered. Let's make a plan then. So we are here. I've got to go all the way up there to Gloucester, off the map. Rather than go around there, what I'm going to do is walk along this passage road, and then cut through the village, come along here, and I think I want to go at least as far as Epney by end of the day. So we're going to rejoin the river and head over that way, and then the next village along is Framelow, and at Framelow we might be able to see something interesting. There used to be a connection there between the Stroudwater Canal and the River Severn. So I'm hoping to see at Framelow is a lock, and the reason that's interesting is because it's a lock for a canal that predates the one that I walked up earlier today. So before that ship canal was built, there was a canal that started at Framelow and went all the way to the River Thames inland. Some of it's been restored now. That's the Stroudwater Canal, the first part, and then it carries on into different canals. So when that ship canal was built, and they put a junction in at Sewell Junction, and that became the terminus. So instead of there was no reason to join to the River Severn anymore. So there's just a little obsolete arm of canal that's been abandoned ever since that ship canal was built. But obviously once the ship canal is there, there's no reason to connect to the River Severn, because if you want to go from Gloucester to Sharpness, you go on the ship canal. It's an awful lot easier. So we're approaching Framelow. This little wall I've been looking at for a while, it's just occurred to me, this is a flood defence. So if you look how far away the river is, see how high it comes on occasion. Good news is I found the old canal. There it is there. The bad news is the lock is inside someone's garden. It was very disappointing. It never occurred to me it'd be in someone's garden. The footpath went for a pub garden, which was a bit of a challenge, but I held firm. Yeah, I don't want to be I don't want any beer. Well, I do, but I don't. Yeah, it wouldn't do me any good. This is it for dinner. I don't think I'm going to camp here because that's the Severn Way just there, about 6 foot away. where those trees are, there's another footpath pops out, and just a few minutes ago over the course of the last 5 minutes I've said hello to like 3 dog walkers. And on tonight's menu, spicy sausage and potato wedges, barbecue peanuts, hot chocolate and a maple syrup bun. It's twilight and there's swallows zooming about, gathering up the bugs. So nice to release my feet. Although these are great, but totally bought the wrong socks. I bought special padded socks for walking, that's what they're for, but they're just too thick to go with these trail runners. So I've ended up using my nighttime socks, which are thick, but they're not as dense as the walking socks, and I actually did better. But yeah, too tight on my feet in there. But these are a world of difference from clumping along in my lovely, I really like my boots, but I'm not hiking in them again. So these, had my feet not already been knackered, would have been great. And I know that because my right foot hasn't even got a blister on it, but my left foot has got many. Well, end of day 2, and I'm still smiling. Oh, end of day 2 last time I was at home. Feeling quite sorry for myself. Yes, some things I learn very, very quickly, some things I just have to go through them before I learn. Oh well. Well, good morning and welcome to day 3, the third and final day of this daft trek. So I did the usual thing of getting up at 5 o'clock, striking camp and heading off. I'm going to shuffle on for a mile or 2 and find a good spot for breakfast. Here we are, day 3 breakfast side. I chose this spot simply because it's got a very handy little table to put my stove on. I actually walked a lot further than I expected to, or intended to, before stopping for breakfast. I'm not sure how far, because we're off the map now, and my phone's died as well, and the power bank's empty. It's all falling apart. But obviously, navigation from this point is dead easy. I'm on this Severn way, I've just got to stay on it, and I'll end up at the destination. The destination is quite interesting. I'm heading for Over Bridge. So started off at the Severn Bridge, which is a crossing, an actual crossing, and we looked at a whole bunch of obsolete crossings of the Severn, and now we're going to 3 in use crossings of the Severn that are all in one place, and that's going to be Journey's End. Quite a journey it's felt like too. Even doing it this way, which has been at least viable compared to last time, even doing it this way has been arduous. Not as hardcore as I thought. Well, I thought we'd be on a clearly defined trail for the rest of the trip, but no. suddenly in a field of wheat. Oh, and there goes a deer. Hey mate. It's not all plain sailing. As we get towards Gloucester, there's a bit where there's a stream that comes down, and I have to detour all the way up to a main road, go across that, and then come back down to the Severn. Well, as we approach the finish line, I should probably give a quick review of the equipment that I've got, the homemade equipment. So, out the 4 things, I've got 2 left. Here's one of them, the knife. I love it, it's great. I've used it twice. I could have done just as well with the smallest Swiss Army knife, which I've also got in my other pocket. But it's just a lovely thing to have, and if I need it if I needed to whittle myself some eating implements or tent pegs or a spoon or a spatula or whatever else you do with a bushcraft type knife, I could have done so. So top marks to my knife, even though it wasn't used that much. Now the pack, on the other hand, that's been used, well, constantly, and it's held up really well. I think that's a great design. The only modification I made since last time was to add a piece of plastic on the back panel, just to give it a bit of structure. So on the last trip I had a folding, one of those German Army folding mats, which did the same thing, but to save weight this time I just cut a piece of, it was about 3mm plastic, and stuck in there, and that's done fine. I wouldn't change anything about the pack, it's great. Keep an eye out over there. There it goes. Pretty cool. That was a buzzard. That's the bridge over the lower parting. So somewhere over that bridge we drop down, and then we're on the last stretch. This traffic's a bit of a shock after several days in the countryside. Down there is the parting, and then down there somewhere is the river proper. Let's see what this says. Oh crikey, we're here. We need to get to here, back to the river proper, and then up to here. These 3 bridges, that's the end of the adventure. I only stopped to read that map about 2 minutes or a minute. Now my knee won't bend anymore. I will not fall in at the last hurdle. I'm just not. Well, thankfully my leg's working again now. It still hurts, but at least it bends where it should do. We are approaching the lower parting. Look who's here! It's Katie Ventures from the YouTube channel Katie Ventures. She's come to collect me and take me home, for which I'm enormously grateful.
No worries.
You see? Oh, there it is. It's the bridge, or one of them. So, like I showed you on the map, there's 3 bridges, all pretty much on the same spot. So the first one we come across is the railway bridge, and then the overbridge itself, the Telford Bridge, and then the not so pretty modern bridge. And it will all be over. I talked about you in part 1 as being the inspiration for doing that journey, and at one point there I was saying that Oh, I've just seen Katie do a 100-mile walk, and I thought, well, anything Katie can do, I can do half as well. And so I chose 50 miles, and then at 25 miles, that was it, just ground to a halt.
We've all got our strengths in certain areas.
Yes.
And I'll get my blacksmithing is, so.
Oh, it's a train going over the train bridge. And so the next bridge we come to, which is much prettier, is the Telford Bridge. And contrast and compare the two, because here's the modern road bridge. And look at the elegance of the Telford Bridge. Here we are. So that's it. All the way from Aust to over in 2.5 days. What was the point? Well, it was a bit of fun, and this time it was actually, unlike last time when it wasn't. So I'm very pleased with my trip. I'm also very much looking forward to going home, having a wash and a bit of a lie down. I just want to say a massive thank you to all my patrons for supporting me to do daft things like this. Big thank you to Mark for dropping me off, and an enormous thank you to Katie for providing the inspiration for the trip, and just as importantly for collecting it at the end of it.
You are.
Cheers for now, see you next time.
Bye.